Welcome to High Oracle's Reiki Spiritual Healing Channel. And from what we are understanding is that a lot of what's going on today, a lot of what we have of the chosen ones, nothing is new under the sun. And I have been teaching a spiritual defense because all of the knowledge that we have from the chosen ones that we have been examining, all of it comes from the holy books. And I have been teaching you what to do from the holy books to spiritually defend yourself, to physically defend yourself, because this is what the holy books would have us do. Okay, this is what God would have us do as the soldiers of the earth, as the spiritual soldiers of the earth that stand against the spiritual warfare. And a lot of you do not understand. You might say, what do I 111 as I'm saying this? You might say, what do you mean, High Oracle? So when we are having the entity try to throw in different types of lies to mislead people and corrupt people, that you're just supposed to idly stand by and allow the negative energy to grow, to allow your children to be sacrificed. And the entity is just saying, oh, we just want to take a few of your children and sacrifice them and eat them up and devour them, while our children, remains in safety. Okay, while you allow our children to grow, because this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be, lax on us because, we're evil. We don't know any better. We don't know anything else but evil. We're not the chosen ones. So, this is the rebuttal that a lot of the men and women have been given to me, that, instead of, being lax upon this type of negative energy, they would rather beat up on the demons. And, it is, I am totally aware that we like to beat up on demons. We're not supposed to be beating up on each other. Okay, so people would say, oh, you're violent. Well, they were violent in the Holy Quran and the Holy Bible. So, I am a descendant of, the prophets. Okay, and the women of that time. So, we choose violence when necessary. Just look at you. Just look at you. So the understanding with the men and women is that they would rather have, beat up on these demons. That God said that we can beat up on these demons as soldiers of the earth than live in a pretend world and play video games. We would rather beat up on these demons as women. A lot of the women have reached out to me than sit there and pretend that these types of entities do not exist. And this is what I like about a lot of the women, because a lot of them, have not been asleep. A lot of them know that they have been fighting these types of entities, in their families and society. They know that, the entity is here to kill, steal, and destroy. So, I give a shout out to a lot of the women. We have a lot of work to do, because they've taken numbers, among the young women in order to turn them against what's right. They've taken a lot of numbers against the young men, in order to turn their mind against what's right, their own people. Okay. As long as they can get some money, as long as they are, in a comfort state of this world, 444, as I'm saying, that they will give their soul into the entity, and that is what we are here to prevent as well. Okay, so we're beating up on these demons, and again, a lot of the things that we are seeing play out in society, a lot of the things that we're seeing in our homes, is a test to toughen us up, to toughen our awareness up, to toughen up our emotions, because you're definitely going to be tried and tested, through your family, and that is to make sure that you're able to sever the ties. And again, no one is perfect, and I still have work to do in those areas. I still have work to do, but for the most part, you can either be severed from these types of things on your own, or you could be severed from these things by force, and you can be unwillingly, severed from these types of things if you are the chosen ones. And, I'm not only talking about you, I'm also talking about myself as well. Okay, so we have to understand that when you have been chosen by God, when you are able to interpret the holy books, and you have the understanding to lead people in the way of God, spiritual warfare is inevitable. I'm going to say this again. When you're able to interpret the holy books and lead people to the way of God, to the word of God, spiritual warfare is inevitable for you. Okay, I could not make a promise to God and say, once these children, they get, out of school, and I got them raised up, and, I've been able to, ensure that they're able to defend themselves, then, Lord, I just want to go on a mission for you. I'm not able to say that to God and not keep my promise. I'm not able to make promises to you, 7-Eleven, as I'm saying this, and not keep my promise. I have shown you that everything that I have said to you comes from the holy books. So this is what I wanted to give you, because this is one of my favorite verses. Okay, and this goes for, the Holy Quran, and it goes for the Holy Bible, because, Satan has been throwing in his own misleading ways to our people, and this is what we have to go by, and this is what I stand on today. Okay, I got a lot of things coming out for you. I made a lot of different buttons with AI, that my team had to approve. Okay, and some of them can do things better than me, so I've had to wait, and I've had to be patient, and this comes along with the territory. Whoever is best for the job, then that's who God gives the toughest battles to. And so now we have to correct ourselves, with being misled into pretending. We have to correct ourselves into living in a fantasy world that the entity has given us, and, living in, a way where our finances, our children are being sacrificed. And this is what the entity has entailed for us. So in Surah Al-Hajj, this is when we're moving forward with cleansing ourselves and defending ourselves from these entities. Okay, we're turning into, the soldiers of God, when we understand what is our purpose, what is being demanded of us by God, and what we're being called to do. Okay, and it says here, this is Surah Al-Hajj 22 and 52. And we did not send before you any messenger or prophet, except that when he spoke or recited, Satan threw into it some misunderstanding or false desires. But Allah abolishes that which Satan throws in. Then Allah makes precise his verses, and Allah is knowing and wise. So this is what has been going on. A lot of misinterpretation from the families, the community, a lot of people who are following their own desires, their own vain desires, and teaching men and women that all you need to do is have a lot of money. You can do anything that you want to do to people once you have a lot of money. We have been seeing that in entertainment. We have been seeing that in our leaders, and we have the understanding that the holy books does not align with that belief. It does not align with a lot of beliefs that they have given us. And so this is why we have to stand on truth from the holy books. And we have to simply, beat down those, liars, those arrogant, prideful leaders that were readily available, give you a lie to stay in power, to keep doing what they're doing, to stand on falsehood. And we're just going to simply beat up demons with the truth. We're going to beat up demons with the spiritual warfare against any kind of negative energy, untruthful. Again, I saw a lady earlier today on Instagram where, again, they were comparing the clothing to the little boys' clothes to the clothing to the little girls' clothes. And so we have to make sure that, when you're saying that you don't want to see, the women always naked in society, then you have to look at who has, given this type of behavior, who has implemented this type of behavior. Did it come from the home, or did it come from, the persons who are in leadership, the colonizers that, would show up in certain people's neighborhoods in order to, attack certain groups of us, with sexual immorality. Okay, so we want to understand that this goes deeper than just pedophilia. Who are the people who are in control, okay, that are sending these types of attack upon our men in order to turn them against their own people, in order to turn their mind reprobated, especially the young men who are impressionable, okay? We really have to make sure that we get a handle on this. And this is where we want to be able to beat up these people who are sending these demonic hired entities. And you're going to see, when you start beating up on these demons that's being hired and sent to us, you're going to see their people in lack. You're going to see their people in addictions. You're going to see their people suffer. You're going to see disaster upon the earth. And we do not have to, use any type of malevolent energy. We just have to stand against it and cleanse that type of negative energy for anything vain that the entity has thrown into what God has given to us. That we stand on facts, and this is the facts of what they have been doing, not only to us, but in our society. All of it is a spell. It is a black magic curse that has been sent over our people in the past, and it is going over on us. Once we break that spell, then we start, not only beating up on demons, but we start, breaking the backs of those people whom they are attached to. And I hope you receive this message. So please like, share, and subscribe to me over all of my platforms. You can book your one-on-one life coaching sessions or your video chat sessions with me at www.highoracle.com. If you're having any type of problems with demonic attachments in your life, in your family, on your job, in community, and you are under attack, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to me again over all of my platforms. Give in offerings or donations. Leave me a comment. I'm High Oracle, Reiki spiritual healer. Assalamu alaikum.